jest światło, super.
Mega fajne. Okay. Yeah, it's working. Yes. Yes, we are on a boat.
Hi, guys.
Definitely. Hi.
Contrary to what you may think, we're actually on a boat.
Yeah, it looks like we are in
In an apartment.
In an apartment
or in a
somewhere
house.
in a house. Yeah, but
we're actually moving, believe it or not.
Yes, and we are in the Caribbean, believe it or not.
We're just about 2 miles from St. Martin, anchored just off this really pretty uninhabited island called Tinta Mare.
Yeah, so welcome.
It's really cool.
Welcome tonight. It's been a long time since we did the last live event because of many reasons. Yeah, I'm gonna just.
We're gonna close the door for kids' room because I think you're gonna hear the Winnie the Pooh more than.
Yes, they are happy kids tonight because they are allowed to watch a movie.
Yeah, because this is
in the evening,
and this is the second live we're doing today. We did the Polish one earlier because of the time difference, so they were happy to watch some cartoons as well.
Oh, it's really
good night from Portugal.
So hi.
Buonanotte. No.
I just.
Boa noite.
We can speak a little bit in Portuguese.
You can?
Some songs. Yes, a little bit. Like Anna Marejopek is a Polish singer. She was singing in Portuguese. Plus some shamanic songs. It's more like a Brazilian, isn't it?
It's true. It's not.
Boa noite.
Boa noite.
So it's a lesson. New bucket list. Learn Portuguese maybe. I don't know when. Within many years. Yeah, so hello,
okay,
welcome.
Guys, so welcome. I think it's already time. We've got, I guess we've got almost everybody. Whoever joins in, we'll try to keep them informed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so here's the story. There's always a story, right? We've been kind of dormant and inactive for the last few weeks because, as some of you probably know, Ania broke her hand, and so since she's the editing powerhouse, the YouTube production literally came to a grinding halt, to a stop. Now, well, that was the one reason, the most important reason. The second most important reason was that her laptop got run over by a wave. So it was completely ruined. It was basically flooded beyond any repair. There was nothing to get out of. So we got a new laptop, thanks to one of our fans actually. Thank you. And Ania healed her hand. Ooh. She took off her cast about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
And now she's starting to click the mouse and do all kinds of things with the hand.
I'm still practicing.
I do have to give her credit though. Even with the left hand only operational, she was still faster in the kitchen than I am with both. Not that I cannot cook, but she's just so super efficient.
But yeah, there are many activities on a boat, or it doesn't mean that if it's a boat or just regular home or regular daily activities that you're just stuck because you cannot just cut.
Pull it off with just one hand.
Cut veggies in the kitchen. So this is like a really crazy, but it's like the 6 weeks went like this. Oh God.
So those are the two big reasons why we were pretty dormant. Those of you who are our patrons know that we've been publishing something. We try to stay somewhat active in the meantime, but the public YouTube went nearly silent for a few weeks. So what's this life about? The life is about really about why we going across the Atlantic. Like we said, we are in the Caribbean, and we've been here for the last 6 years almost. We love it. We've been up and down to North America and South America, but basically stayed on the west side of the Atlantic the whole time. Since it's been 6 years since we last painted the bottom of the boat and actually refreshed it, it's high time. No, it's 5 years since then. It's high time to do that again. And since it's a bigger job, it's not just lifting the boat and just repainting the bottom. There's a lot more that we want to do to the boat. We decided to sail back to Poland. That's one of the factors. Another factor is that with all these restrictions and all the COVID issues and whatnot, it's actually easier to sail than to fly. Third is that's the way to spend the summer with the boat safely by our side.
Out of hurricane season.
Out of hurricane season. And right next to our families who haven't seen us for the last year and a half, because we missed the last summer. We never went to Poland. So this is the way to achieve all these things at the same time. And granted, things don't go worse in Europe when it comes to traveling restrictions. We'd like to stick around for at least a year and change around the Mediterranean. So we'd like to achieve all these things by going east across the Atlantic. Now, the trip is pretty off the wall because I haven't, and this boat hasn't, done 5,000 miles nonstop. We've done just over half of it, and that felt pretty long, right? You've done it with me. So now double that. So that just gives, and actually it's going not the wrong way across the Atlantic, but for those of you who don't know, it's quite easy to cross the Atlantic to the west from the Canary Islands to Caribbean. Because it is an area of a very consistent easterly winds called trade winds. So, and there's also a little bit of a current helping. So all in all, it's a reasonably easy passage.
That means that we are super excited that we're gonna go for a long journey.
You are, especially Ania, because she's going on a plane.
Yeah, I thought Bartek.
I know what she did, because you guys are falling asleep.
Because our schedule for tonight is like the list of basic information about all the preparation and the safety stuff during the such a long voyage. But a few weeks ago I just told Bartek, okay, I'm not sailing, it's 100%, because I'm not taking kids on such a long passage, because it's gonna be probably 1 month or even longer.
It could be over. It could easily be over 1 month.
I didn't want you just to do it to our kids. They just dreaming of going to Poland and seeing our parents and spend some time in Poland, especially, and all the strawberry and season is gonna be on. So I told Bartek, okay, so I'm gonna just organize crew, and they're gonna be really happy and excited to join you on this amazing trip. And I'm gonna be really amazing to help you here, prepare the boat, prepare all the provisioning and everything, and then just take a flight straight to Amsterdam and then to Poland.
And then do the 5,000 miles that we're gonna do in over a month in 10 hours, right? Give or take.
And then I'm gonna just keep you updated during this.
She's gonna be our PR and press agency.
Yeah. So what is the schedule for today?
Well, we'd like to talk about all these things that come into play when you prepare such a long voyage, and also about the voyage itself. There was a lot of questions from you guys, both on Facebook and Instagram, and also by private messages about how you get around to do something like that reasonably safely, efficiently, and reasonably comfortably. That's the priorities, right? So the safety is first, because nobody's going to join me unless they think that this is reasonably well secured and well thought out in terms of emergencies.
So is it safe to cross?
Well, safety is a very relative idea, right? I mean, because you could think that sailing in all is very dangerous, right? And it could be. If you're not prepared, it could be. So we're in a really good age of really cool equipment that's available to us. We have lots of satellite communication. That's like the main thing here, because yes, we can jump into the. I'm not going to go into detail of the equipment that's normally on board. That's standard, like life raft and lifesavers and that kind of stuff. And because that's standard on any sailboat. But what I will tell you is the stuff that goes into, that's extra on top of it, that secures our long voyage across the ocean and outside of normal VHF or radio communication, right? So like I mentioned, satellite is probably the key tool here, satellite communication. And we have 1, 2, 3 different ways of communicating via satellite. We have, first of all, this little happy box. That's Iridium Go. As you see, it's a completely standalone system that normally is connected to external antenna and the power supply, but I can actually take it out just like that, take it with me to a life raft, and actually communicate via that, both via voice and text messaging, directly to whoever it may be. Easy to use. All it needs is an app on the phone, and you can actually use your phone, regular cell phone, like a satellite phone. It's beautiful. We love it. So this is our main mode of communication when we're crossing. This is how we send emails. This is how we receive forecasts. I will get to forecasts. And this is how we can. This is how we also update our position on this special page that we will eventually share with you, so you're going to be able to track our progress. Okay, next mode of satellite communication is this little gizmo. It's basically effectively like an EPIRB, which is this. This is the full boat version, and this is like a personal satellite communicator that basically has one button that says, "Hey, I need help." Okay, and this one is even more smart because if it goes swimming, it starts transmitting on its own. Okay. Plus, it's got its own strobe, blah, 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 all this happy stuff. And it's got, they both have, all 3 of them have standalone GPS. So they will report your position whenever there is a problem. Okay? So these 3 things are beautiful. On top of this, we have a special life jacket that's normally handy. And it's in case if we have a single-handed watches. We use this one, and it has this really special piece of equipment. For those of you who know what AIS is, you already probably know what this is. AIS is an automatic identification system that reports position between neighboring vessels, and you can actually see it as a position on your chart. Now this is basically kind of a fake buoy, fake transmitter that is not really a vessel. It's a man overboard. If you end up activating it, it flashes alarm on everybody who's receiving AIS, including us, so we can pinpoint the location of this beacon. So if you happen to go overboard and you activate this beacon, we can find you in the middle of the darkness and fog and whatever else. It's beautiful. It's a really cool piece of equipment. Obviously, as you see, we have little cool life jackets like that. They're fully automatic. If you jump into the water, they actually inflate automatically. But I'm not going to go into detail of life jackets. Let's take that off. On top of that, like I mentioned, we have a life raft, which is, again, I'm not going to go into complete detail of our life raft. That's no point there. But the main purpose is that if this entire boat decides to sink completely uncontrollably, we can jump into this spare craft that inflates itself. Even if it goes underwater with a vessel, there's eventually a hydrostatic switch that releases it, it inflates, and you have somewhere to float on. It's basically sort of like a inflatable tent that floats. And it's got some basic supplies in it. And whatever you're missing in the basic supplies, we keep in this emergency bag. This is one thing we want to grab on the way out. And we put the satellite communicator in there. We put a knife, some flares, passports,
yeah.
some flares, some smoke signals, first aid kit right there, and a mirror. I know it sounds funny. For those of you who don't sail, you probably have never seen it, but it's a really cute mirror with a hole in the middle, and it is possible to aim with that hole in such a way that you can actually flash an oncoming aircraft or a vessel. And during the day, you can actually make really efficient signals that way. It's a very old idea, but extremely well works extremely well. What else do we have? Anything else that goes into it? Yeah, there's a couple other things goes into grab bag, depending on which way you're going and how far and what are the situation. But that's basically what it is. Let me see if I'm missing anything.
Maybe more about the schedule of our trip when we're leaving and
yeah. We're leaving on the we're basically meeting the whole crew here on the 25th of April. Yeah. That to me psychologically seems like the sort of the earliest time I would want to go, because the North Atlantic is really nasty in the winter. It can produce some really serious lows that will rival hurricane winds, basically. That will rival hurricanes in terms of winds and waves, for that matter. So, having said that, maybe I'll go and tell you which way we're going to go, because the reason why we're not going to go too far north is exactly that, not getting into really deep low in the North Atlantic. And also, it's not so much of a factor because there appear to be about more north than 44 north on the west side of the Atlantic, but the icebergs as well. If you go far enough north, you could hit the icebergs.
So maybe we go to the map.
We go to the map. I'll show you on the map how that works.
Let me just unplug it. Oops.
All right. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to try to show you. So we use PredictWind for, and I have to say this is our official sponsor for the last few years. It's not big, but they do give us the access to the forecast for free, and they also just offer to cover our satellite communication for the trip. So I'm using them I've been using them before they became our sponsor. I actually love the software, and it's very accurate. We've been able to stay on top of weather for the last 50,000 miles and basically not ever be in a situation that we did not choose to be in, at least in a macro scale. So we're here. This is the Caribbean. We're going to take off, wait for a few days until we have at least east wind, not the prevailing northeast. We're going to wait till it's east or southeast, and then we take off and try to exit the trade winds. The trade winds are basically in this area, in this strip. Once we're here, we're off into the unknown, because that's an area of sort of like light and shifty winds. And then eventually we go far enough north to hit the westerly flow that goes all the way across the Atlantic. Of course, you could have northerly winds, southerly winds, but in general, they are from the western half. So it's kind of nice because it's going to push us over to Europe. So that is the reason why we're going this way and not this way. Okay, because if we go straight from here to here, first of all, we're going to be bucking the headwinds over here against the trade winds and the current, for that matter. Now, once we exit them, we would be right in the middle of Bermuda High, and that's no good either because there's no wind there. And we are a sailboat, and we're happy to sail. We don't have enough fuel to cross the Atlantic. We have enough fuel to go for about 7 days, and that's about it. Hence the route. And then we go over to the English Channel. If there is no restrictions to visit France, we might stop there for a few days for baguette, and then off to Poland probably through Danish Straits, not through Kiel Canal. I'm kind of a big fan of keeping sailing, even though Kiel Canal is kind of a shortcut. Well, not kind of. It is a shortcut in most cases. So that's the route. And all in all, that should take about 4 weeks, plus minus, big plus and big minus. I'm hoping it's going to take a little bit less, but it could take even longer. We don't know. The going across the Atlantic to the east is far less predictable than going to the west. Like I said, the going to the west is in the trade winds, so it's always very predictable winds. The 90% over 90% of the winds are from the northeast east, so you can pretty much count on it. Whereas going to the west is, like I already told you, is much more complicated game. Okay, PredictWind also. I'm not mentioning it. I'm not back to PredictWind because they're our sponsor. I'm coming back because I actually do use it all the time. Weather is huge. Obviously, that is the major factor in our decision on how we daily pick our route. And the way we run every day is we, at least once a day, we pull the forecast and pull our optimum route that's calculated by a mainframe in New Zealand. And we look at that according to 4 different weather models and choose what we're going to do for the next 24, 48, 72 hours. And the reason I'm saying over the next few days is because oftentimes a small change in course, 5, even 10, 10 degrees is a lot. But even 5 degrees, 2 days in advance of some low could put you on the right side of it. Meaning instead of trying to buck 40-knot headwinds, you can be riding 40-knot tailwind. That's a lot more fun, right? So that's the key. We don't avoid tough conditions. We don't mind them, but we try to position ourselves in such a way so they actually are helping us rather than making us fight for our life. So that's the key here. So it's basically a sort of like a daily routine to keep the strategy going for the next few days, and how we're gonna just slightly go left, slightly go right, in order to literally select the weather for that works for us. Okay, and that's also the beauty of not just good forecasting, but also the routing. The automatic routing, which we can look at, but we usually kind of use our brain at the end to tweak it. But also the fact that the boat is relatively fast. Our boat, as most of you know, is probably faster than most cruising vessels. So we're at the range where we're fast enough to position ourselves to the weather the way we want. So that's really the key of strategizing and tactical decisions that we make every day. I don't know. Crew.
There's a question.
There's a question?
About from Adventure Pete. Are you still accepting new crew? So maybe.
Yes, there is a possibility of that. We're sort of on the border, sitting on the fence right now with a few people. So until they are 100% sure, we still do have opening. And in fact, that opening can go to someone who's not necessarily highly experienced. Really, the most important thing for us, and I guess that goes straight into a discussion about the crew, making up the crew, is really the personality.
What are the expectations?
The personality is number one rule here. As long as you're not dying because of the seasickness, the personality is number one, because we are about to spend possibly up to six weeks in a small area where you really have nowhere to go to if you get pissed off at someone. And you have to face the situations, face the conflicts, and resolve them in a, how should I say, amiable manner, right? The way that actually works long term, not just kind of shove things under the carpet and say, oh, okay, but then it boils in you. So no, we're practicing like a radical honesty, basically, saying that if we're uncomfortable with something, let's lay it out, throw it on the table, and talk about it, right? And so you have to be able to open up. You have to be able to open up and be straight and forward and truthful about how you're feeling about things and what else we can do as a team to make this a success.
So Pete, because Pete is asking how can he apply. So you can just write us in the email.
Yeah, just write us an email.
For example, say oceans. You can continue.
Yes.
For example, this email, or whatever email you find on our website.
Yeah,
we all
whichever email, doesn't matter.
info@saleoceans.com or contact wherever.
So
Yeah.
again, personality, seasickness are the only things that are absolutely required, right? And seasickness is not something that I'm saying you're supposed to be a pirate, meaning you never barf, right?
Yeah, because I'm the first one to get
I happen to barf sometimes too, but the point is it does not disable me from doing normal functions, right? I'm still able to function. I'm able to in emergency, I'm able to just about do anything, right?
Or you already did a bad case.
Yeah, we're only talking about somebody who is. We're only talking about somebody who is already getting sick just by sitting on the anchor. You know, we've had cases like that, but it's extremely rare.
Exactly.
And also with the seasickness, it's we've noticed that the vast majority of people who are susceptible to seasickness, they seem to lose it within a day or two. So that's another thing. But I'd like you to be aware of what your condition is, how your body reacts to it before you go on to a 6-week trip. Because why is all this talk so important? Why is personality and seasickness so important? It's because this trip is so different than any other trip that we normally do here in the Caribbean, because we cannot let you go from the boat when you feel sick or when you feel bad about being with this group or something like that. There is nowhere to go, right? So we have to be able to deal with whatever the situation is. And like I said, in extreme case, it might be as much as 6 weeks together. So that's quite a bit of time. And this is very intimate too. I mean, we're going to be in all sorts of situations together. And there is really, it's really, it's kind of like we used to say, the masks are off after a few days. So you can only play someone different for a few days on the boat. After that, you get to know someone just deep down all the way to the ground. So what do we got there?
Nice t-shirt, Bartek.
Somebody's got a zero sailing experience, but what?
Is this enough if it happened to be a good ziomek? Yeah, of course. It's really important to just pick somebody who can for the safety reason. And Bartek used to have this conversation with everybody.
We don't just accept anybody who comes in. We have a long serious talk over
two persons
online.
We already know because they are more or less our friends, and one of the men is has sailed with you once.
Yes, we actually crossed the Atlantic together. So I already have another seriously experienced person that can even
Pete,
take over in case if I become disabled, in any way.
Yeah.
So definitely, guys, write us if you're actually personally interested in joining us, and we'll go from there.
And if you have any questions now, you can just type here. We're gonna answer later or in the meantime. Yep.
All right, so more on safety, contingency planning. As you saw, we're going to be passing Bermuda, and we're going to be passing Azores, actually, in not too much of a distance. So those are the two alternate destinations in case if something goes to really serious condition, something or someone, for that matter. If someone does go to serious condition, and we're not able to keep them in stable condition, then we also can use the satellite communication in order to call for help. And most of the Atlantic is within a day of some sort of ship with a doctor or a helicopter if you're close enough to the shore, or even a military airplane. Those are an option. Those are some options. So we're not completely stranded. Of course, being right in the middle does put some extra pressure on this. So having said that, we are what I think quite well prepared for, relatively well prepared, as much as you can be without being an actual doctor. We have a bit of an onboard hospital here. Obviously, a first aid kit that's much bigger than this one that I just presented you, with some important things in it to stop some immediate issues. We have this happy thing, which I have never used and hope to never use. There you go, defibrillator. And you might laugh. We're young guys, but the truth is, it doesn't have to be a heart failure. It could very well be somebody touching the high voltage and just basically heart stops. And you can save someone's life with that thing. And by the way, that goes for your house too, not just necessarily the boat that's 1,000 miles offshore.
Yeah. Plus, we got almost a pharmacy here. Just
yes,
in case.
and then this. I'm talking about immediate cases. Like we got stair strips to put together some cuts and deep cuts and that stuff like that. But we also have a hospital and a pharmacy, like Ania mentioned, under our bed. That is quite well supplied. So once we have somebody stable, or if they're getting sick with something that's proceeding slowly, that's not an actual emergency at the moment, then we can use external resources to explain to them and take some measurements to allow the diagnosis to be fully, how should I say, collaborated from the shore with a doctor, and then they can instruct what of those things that we have available here should be used and how, in order to keep somebody in decent condition, right? So that's what I think that pretty much in a nutshell when it comes to medical emergencies.
Somebody is saying that it will be fun to watch Vagabond is coming to. They are in Antigua.
They're next door.
Because they were just putting uploading the videos from the crossing. And now just preparing to our.
All right. So next, keeping everybody happy and alive and in one piece is one thing. Keeping the boat alive and happy and in one piece is a whole another subject. It's easy to keep a boat alive being here in the Caribbean because you are always just a few hours away from another chandlery, from another store, and you can always stop in case if something stops functioning and order it from Europe, from the US.
Somebody wanted Julian. Say hi and good night. Say because it's really late.
Night. So it's easy to keep everything happy technically when you have everything basically close at hand. But when you're going on a trip like that and you need to keep yourself completely autonomous for 6 weeks, that is a whole nother level. That means we have to have lots of spare parts, and after 6 years, I would like to say that we have some resemblance of a good idea of what's needed and what can go wrong, what has a tendency to go wrong, how many spares do we need for this, that, and that. So that's spares is one thing. Multitude of tools that will allow you to come up with all kinds of solutions, and multitude of raw materials where you can produce something in case something completely unexpected happens, so you can fix it. I was laughing because for a few years I was a nutcase that said, you know what, I got just everything on board, but I'm just missing a welding machine. So happily I got a welding machine last year. So now I have it. Now I came up with the idea that I don't have a sewing machine, but I do have a hand sewing machine. It's extremely slow, but yes, you can do the job. So we're okay. We're good. So yeah, we have plenty of stuff, and I think we have a lot more.
There's one story that you just is your favorite story about how you need the spare parts from. You never
know when how you're gonna source the spare parts. Okay. We were crossing the Atlantic right after the big refit in Poland on the way to the Caribbean, and halfway through the Atlantic, 2 months into or 3 months after being installed, the autopilot quits completely. So we dive into the engine room. We pull out the hydraulic pump for the autopilot that's driven by an electric motor. We take the electric motor apart. And what turns out is that the brushes are completely destroyed, eaten up to zero. So we look at each other, it's like, what the hell, right? I mean, this is a new autopilot, 3 months, and it just destroyed itself inside, right? I mean, the brushes, the rest was okay. So we sat down, not to dive in too much into like trying to cry over how bad it is. And I'm like, okay, guys, brainstorming. How can we make new brushes? What can we make out of?
The brainstorm.
And brainstorm. So we found this old AC drill, which by miracle I have not trashed because it wasn't working for a long time in the Canary Islands. And we took it apart, and it turned out that the brushes weren't way off from what they are in the autopilot. We just grinded them down to the size that would fit somewhat into the place where the into the motor, and this thing worked. I mean, it would quit like every 2-3 hours, but it was still a lot better than hand steering. And I'm not talking about just comfort here, because we've had plenty of crew that we could continue with for another week just by hand steering. But it's about safety, because if you leave somebody under a almost 300 square meter spinnaker, which is almost 3,000 square feet, and that someone kind of falls asleep, not necessarily literally, but a bit like, dozes off with their attention and makes a wrong turn, and that spinnaker folds in 20-knot winds and then fires up again, they could literally rip some stuff out of the boat. So basically, if you have a situation like that, you have to take down the spinnaker and run the rest of the weight with a Genoa to be safe. So now, because of those 2 stupid brushes, you're going to be in Caribbean, 3-4 days later, because you're not doing 10 knots anymore. You're doing more like 6-7. So yeah, it's huge. So yeah, just a story to picture this for you. Cool, sugar blonde. Okay, sorry, I started reading the comments. What else we got? So maintenance, that's the thing. Strategy, I already talked about this a little bit, right? So if we have if we're in the northern hemisphere, if the loads are turning anti-clockwise, we're gonna try to stay on the south side of them. That's our most comfortable place, because the north side could be ugly, very ugly, because we could be facing headwinds. We don't want that. And we don't want to get sucked into the center either, because then the winds become really, really strong if it's a bad low. We got that. Communications. I already talked about the satellite communications. We also have the regular VHF communication, which is just short-range radio communication. We use both the main radio for the ship, which is give or take about 20 miles range, maybe 25. But we also have a few handheld ones like this, which actually float and are waterproof. So you can put them in a drink and they're fine. So the beauty of this one is that we can attach one of those to this life vest that I showed you. And if someone does end up in the water, they can actually talk to us at the same time. So it's kind of a beauty. We love it. We got a few of those. And we also use this little kids thing with an earpiece to communicate around the boat. Because believe it or not, I know for you, some of you might be laughing. It's like, come on, it's a 50-foot boat. But guess what? If you're by the helm and it's blowing 25 or upwards, you cannot hear the guy on the bow. There is just no way. Or if you need to go up the mast, let's say it's reasonably safe to go up the mast, any wind will make you almost completely deaf up there to whatever the guy from downstairs is saying, and vice versa. Got
the signals.
So yeah, so this way normally we do signals.
Yeah.
If we don't have this, but this is definitely the best way to go, because then you can just communicate peacefully without screaming and yelling at each other. So just that is a nicety. Obviously, it's not a necessity, but it's nice to have.
So maybe now we're gonna talk about independence while being at sea, about the water and energy.
Autonomy.
Yeah,
yes.
Autonomy. Yeah.
So autonomy. The energy autonomy and the water autonomy. Water obviously is the most important thing, other than breathing, right? I mean,
And
we cannot survive without air for a few minutes, but we cannot survive without water for more than a few days. So we need fresh water. So the way we prepare for such a long voyage is not much different than what we live on every day, because we live on Watermaker. We lived on Watermaker for the last 3 years, and we're very happy with it. We're apparently reasonably healthy. And the way we stay healthy is not by drinking a completely pure, chemically pure water that comes out of the Watermaker, but we take that water and we actually mineralize it. So it becomes a nice mineral water, fully healthy, the way you would want the best for your body. And that's exactly how we're going to run it all the way across the Atlantic. Now, contingencies. Watermaker goes to hell. What do we do? First of all, I try not to go below about, depending on how many people we're going to end up having here, but roughly, I try not to go below 300 liters in the tank, because the idea is that the 300 liters will comfortably get us across the Atlantic if we have to just use that 300 liters for drinking, okay? And then we can wash in the salt water. We have pumps for salt water. We can even use a bucket, right? So that's not an issue. If by some miracle both the Watermaker and the tank is contaminated and broke, or something happened, and we cannot produce the water with the Watermaker, and the tank is broken, we also have a spare reserve of water in plastic bottles. Mm-hmm. And we're going to also, that is obviously a lot less, but we're going to try to keep it to the point where we can reasonably get to any alternate destination. At that point, we're diverting, right? We're no longer going where we need to be going. We're diverting to the closest alternate that can supply us with water.
There's a question with water. So 10 liters a day per person or so. How you calculate it? Because you always calculate it 2 liters.
Drinking water, the minimum. What someone needs to drink a day in order to remain reasonably healthy for a short period of time is 2 liters. That's absolute minimum, right? We'd like to have more, and we're probably going to have more, even in that reserve, but that's what we're calculating. And obviously, if the Watermaker is working, and if we have the water in the tank, then there's really no limit, right? Because the Watermaker is just fine. It's happy. We use the water for the dishwasher and all kinds of other luxuries, and don't mind, right? So that's our normal everyday life, and I am hoping that's exactly the way it's going to stay for the whole Transat.
And we haven't taken water from the shore for last, 2 years.
Yeah, something
3
like
years,
that.
maybe.
I think last time we took it was in Suriname.
In Suriname, yeah.
That was about 2 years ago, give or take. Because we cannot turn the Watermaker on in the river.
On the river, yeah.
Because the water is too dirty. Yeah. And plus, we had the supply from the host, so
and
why not?
Shower you can take with a salt water. We have in the cockpit we have a hose with the salt water, and there's a pump, so we can. And this is unlimited, so we can just. Take a shower every day without.
So you can shower 10 times a day if you want in salt water, and then you take the shower head with the fresh water and just do a final rinse, and it's the same. Or you don't. If you're one of those guys that don't care to have some salt on you, some people don't care, and that's fine too, and so that's totally fine.
Water,
so that's water,
energy, yeah.
Because by the way, Watermaker is not a freebie. It makes water thanks to quite a bit of power. Ours is extremely economical when it comes to power. It only draws about 100 watts. So it's not a big draw in the system, but it doesn't produce a lot either. So if we want to have a lot of water, we run it usually every other day for an entire day. And energy. So where does the energy come from? No, we do not turn diesel into water. So we do not run the engine or the generator in order to produce our water. We have 2.5 kilowatts of solar panel on the roof, and we use it. We've been using it for the last 6 years, very happily, 7 years now, because we put the first solar panels about a week after we bought the boat. And We happily crossed the Atlantic twice already with the solar panels. And the first time around, we were going for Newfoundland. It was cloudy, and we still had so much power from the solar panels that I didn't even notice that our water heater was on. Imagine how crazy. So we're looking at this like about 3-4 days after we last ran the engine. We're like, where is this water coming from? We still have hot water. That's amazing. And then it dawned on me that the water heater is on, and I didn't even notice because the battery was completely topped off. So yeah, so it's the beauty of solar panels. We produce so much power. Today we produced 12.8 kilowatt hours. For those of you who don't know much about electricity, that is about as much as you're going to use in a small house. Economical house, not for heating obviously, but for just regular everyday things. Let's say it's summer and you're not using air conditioning. So we got plenty of electricity, and as long as everything else is functioning as designed, we can use the dishwasher, we can use the water heater, we can use all kinds of sorts of goodies, and there's really no end to it because we also have lithium batteries. So meaning whatever goes into the batteries pretty much comes back, 97% of that comes back to you. So it doesn't matter whether you're going to put a big draw in the middle of the day straight from the solars, or you're going to put a big draw on the batteries in the middle of the night. It's still the same. This is the same balance. With the lead acids, it was a different story because you were pumping in 10 kilowatt hours and you were only getting back 6. So it was always an issue, with using high draw items in the middle of the night. So no problem there. Golf cart battery, yeah, we used to have golf cart batteries, no longer. That's what I just mentioned. That's exactly what with the lead acid batteries, you only get 60% efficiency. There's some other issues, but I'm not going to go into details. I can give you a whole spiel, 10-minute pep talk about beauty of lithium batteries.
Plus, we have a wind generator.
Yes, another thing. We have a wind generator, which actually doesn't do much on everyday basis, but when you're sailing upwind and it's cloudy, it will save you from ever turning on the engine. Because if it's 25 knots of apparent wind, then you're effectively flat, as long as you're not using dishwasher, right, or something really high draw. But we can remain flat, meaning not discharge the batteries if it's 25 knots, and that's day in, day out. So that thing is definitely a big plus.
Actually, we just recorded a new kind of a boat tour, like a kind of.
Kind of.
I'm at the moment I'm editing it. So within a few days, I probably put it on our Patreon and our Love Boat on Facebook, and then on YouTube as well. So this is like the video that we mentioned a few improvements from till the last boat tour, and then after the refit in Poland, we're gonna record a new one. But we just mentioned about the wind generator and then the extra solar panels. So you're welcome to join us within I don't know, maybe next week. Probably
put it together.
It depends. Sure. It depends how it's gonna be with the editing job within next days. Yeah. So.
Okay. What else did I want to mention?
Because meditation.
What does like a regular day look like during such a passage? It gets sort of once you fall into the groove, it gets sort of very regular, very what's the word?
You go into routine.
Yeah, you kind of fall into the routine. Meaning you got, usually depending on how much of a crew we're gonna have, it's give or take about 2/3 of the time you spend resting, or not necessarily sleeping the whole time. Obviously you don't have to sleep that much, but some of it you sleep and some of it you just hang out or help with the boat or maintain it in good condition, fix something. And then 1/3 of the time you're on a watch. And as long as everything is functioning, watch is only a watch, meaning you're monitoring systems and monitoring weather and monitoring sails and the progress of the boat. But But I just right in the middle, I started reading the comment from Lithium, Bartek and his thumb drum. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we can play some instruments on the way for sure. But so if everything is functioning properly, then it really is a monitoring job. You don't have to. You may, if you like to, you can steer, you can have fun with the sails and stuff like that. But there is really no need, right? The idea is to just monitor and see if the conditions are changing, if the boat is performing well, and that's about it. Having said that, we do have quite a few alarms. So if the conditions are stable, and we have sail plan that allows for extra gusts and stuff like that, then even at night you can basically chill, just read the book and stuff like that, and just kind of look around every few minutes and make sure everything is running smoothly. There's nothing on the horizon, that kind of stuff. But it's very, very relaxing. That's on one end. That's if everything is going well and the weather is kind to us. On the extreme other end is, let's say the weather is not so kind to us, and let's say our autopilot broke and you're hand steering, then we're taking a much denser turns, much quicker turns at the wheel, because you can only effectively steer maybe for 2 hours before you become effectively dangerously tired and lack attention to proper steering. So then we're taking turns a lot faster and things get a little bit more condensed. Obviously, in a situation like that, we're going to try to fix things and come back to normal as soon as possible. But the reason why it's important for everybody to be happy, healthy, and well rested is exactly because if things go south, then we can easily pull some reserve energy for a few days and go into an overdrive mode and have the time and space to fix things and come back to normal, or at least to semi-normal, right? And assess the situation and see if we can stretch it to the point where we can either reach our destination or go into alternate destination to rectify the situation. So
you want us to keep fingers crossed for a really smooth and boring.
And the boring crossing, yeah, please.
So we can just do the
less,
updates.
Yeah,
daily updates via satellite, and then I can post on Facebook and other social media pages, and maybe you can write our book, you continue and read other books, watch movies.
I can almost assure you that there's going to be something to fix on the way. It's impossible to sail a boat for 6 weeks on and not have to fix something. But let's just keep fingers crossed so that it's something small and easily fixable, that we can just simply fix it, replace it, continue.
Are you concerned about what is it called with a submerged object out at sea, such a shipping container?
Yes, we are concerned about that stuff. There's unfortunately very little we can do about that, other than pure statistics and hope that there is enough open ocean to be able to miss it and actually not be unlucky enough to hit just the one that's just slightly submerged, that hasn't sunk and it's not floating on the top either. Although, to be perfectly honest with you, if there is one floating on the top and we're doing 10 knots and it's the middle of the night, the likelihood of you seeing it is slim to none. And if you do see it, it's probably going to be close enough not to be able to turn the boat by then. So unfortunately, the only way to mitigate this risk is by accepting the fact that we can collide with something, and that is designed into the boat. We have 3 crash zones in all 3 bows. So the idea is that we can make a giant hole in every bow and continue. And the boat remains pretty much stably floating. Obviously, it doesn't have the same hydroflow, but it's working, right? We can limp home with a hole in any of the bows. In fact, even in 3 bows. That's the idea.
Do we have night vision cameras on board?
No, we don't.
Sonar.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Does it help to even just notice the container?
I was researching the forward sonar 5 years ago when we had the chance to mount it, and back then the prevailing experience with the forward-looking sonar, was that people who did have it had so many false alerts that they ended up either ignoring it or turning it off. So because it's such an imperfect technology, that oftentimes just a layer of different temperature of water will reflect something, and that sonar will or a fish will basically shoot false alert that there's something up front. And quite frankly, if something gets detected 50 meters away from us and we're running at 10 knots, I don't know, slim chance to turn and avoid something, especially if you don't know exactly where it's at. I have to educate myself to see if that technology got any better in the last 5 years. Probably it did, but to what point, I don't know. Back then, I talked to people who had it, and numerous people said the same thing, basically saying, no, man, you can't count on it. So keep it all above the water for repairs. Exactly. Yes, we don't need any holes underwater. That would be good.
Okay, so you need a lot of experience for that stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
You need to be. We were laughing that you need to be a MacGyver.
Yes.
During a passage,
not just experience, but you also have to have lots of experience in creating things out of nothing. Meaning, think always outside of the box, because sometimes you might have to use something from an absolutely different, ridiculously different area of life to fix something completely different. Like, for example, fixing some electrical issue for a moment to avoid some problem by sticking a fork in the right place. I've done that before, and it worked. But you gotta know what you're doing. Okay. Yeah. Experience does help. That does not mean you can do whatever the heck you want. What really makes a good sailor is one who realizes his limitations and then runs at 80% of it. And that's really great if you can realize what you're capable of, what is your boat capable of, what is your crew capable of, and then taking 80% maximum out of it and running at that level maximum. Okay, so yeah.
So be sure you have duct tape.
Yes, we have plenty of duct tape. We even have the waterproof duct tape. It's awesome. The stuff you can do with that thing, it's amazing. We even have epoxy where you can epoxy a hull underwater. It takes 24 hours to cure, but it cures. And it seals sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we get lots of different stuff here. And zip ties. Yes, we have plenty of zip ties. We love zip ties.
Bo drzwi hałasują.
Powiedziałaś, że mamy wody.
Tak, napiję wody i drzwi zamknę.
Ale nie ma tu wody.
Jest w kranie, kotku. Okay, guys.
Yeah, so
I think I bored you to death by now.
Oh, it's really late. It's 9. Oh God.
Yeah. No. Why would anybody use a duct tape for a duct? Come on. Seriously? Where'd you get that idea from? No, it's awesome. We love duct tape.
Yeah.
Not the regular duct tape necessarily, although that's good for some jobs too, like a temporary ones. But we have one that's like a gorilla tape. Man, that thing is vicious. I put that thing on davits to hold a bumper for our dinghy. That thing's been on there for about 3 years. No UV, nothing has destroyed it. It's been sitting there since 3 years. Wow. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, so we're just in the middle of the preparation. We are. Somebody asked us if we can order anything here from Amazon or actually the St. Martin's really good place that we decided. That's why we decided to stay here, not to go back to Guadeloupe because we really wanted to go to Guadeloupe.
Because part of the preparation for the Transat is actually checking things way in advance, so that if you do come across some part that is really highly specialized and you need to order it, like for example a stupid little seal that goes into the middle of a hydraulic pump for the autopilot, I need to order it from France and it takes a few weeks to get it.
Yeah.
So I can't just run into the engine room, inspect everything, few days before leaving across the Atlantic, and then say, oh man, I need this, I need that, I need that. I can't get all of that here from the off the shelf, right? I have to order some things. So St. Martin is great because here there's no duties, no taxes, and it's not just about money, it's about the whole paperwork associated with that. The beauty is that here you basically receive everything as if it was domestic. It comes in, gets delivered by FedEx guy, that's it, done. Thank you.
That's really easy.
It's super easy. So
cool.
you can order anything from anywhere and not worry about things not getting in here.
Yeah.
And they're usually quite fast too. As opposed to, for example, Martinique, where you get things after months, So
and the planes are still flying here.
The planes are
both
still flying.
From States and Europe.
Yeah, it's probably the most well-connected island in the whole Caribbean.
At the moment.
Both with the States and Europe. All right. Does customs essential searching your boat when arriving in a new country? No. We have never had the boat searched by customs.
Only once in the Bahamas, remember? It was customs.
Yes, but
they just told
but they said that they were doing that they were basically routine control for every boat in that day, and they were super nice. They just looked in few places, and I think they just needed to check off.
Yeah,
some
but remember
papers,
in the
and that's it.
Bahamas when we arrived to Exumat, it was the same. The guy came here, so we did. Normally, you go to the office and do the paperwork and in the immigration and customs office. But in the Bahamas, the guy came here. He was filling the papers here in the cockpit, and then he just took a look here in the boat. Remember? It was like a search.
Yeah, but it's not really a search.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't call it a search. Nobody flipped our boat upside down, to actually find something. Except the police in St. Lucia.
Yeah,
it's a bad story.
That's been exactly last year.
Exactly last year.
More or less. It's been crazy. They got the same impression that like at this 1 year it's been like this. Yeah, since March everything just went like crazy fast. Okay, we got more questions about not only transatlantic but also we got the question that how are the boys doing on English? They're doing really well. Since we started to meet other kids and they started to play with other kids, especially from States or here local kids speaking English, they are doing really good, extremely good. They were really they didn't want few years ago they didn't want to learn English because they didn't have any motivation. But once they started to just play and interact with others, they just now we got a reason, and now we got a reason to speak English. So yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep just update more. Now we're just testing also internet because for last 4 months we've been lots of data. We got extremely good package and plans.
But we can't really use it because it's so unreliable,
Yeah.
And it's not the reason, and I wouldn't even blame the company that we got it from because we just hear it from everybody around. Whoever's using, doesn't matter which carrier. It's simply the nature of the main connection here on the island. It's just it's amazing because the most civilized islands, meaning Saint Martin, Martinique, Guadeloupe, that are technically European. Are the worst, have the worst mobile internet, probably because of the numbers of users. Because when we've been in St. Lucia and the Grenadines, the internet is just blazing fast and it's so reliable. Nice. It's amazing. Yeah. I've had 60 megabits per second between the pitons day in and day out. It's just completely mind-blowing. So we still can't get our, getting to grips with it.
But today I think is doing.
Today is doing well.
Really
I don't know. You guys tell us. Did we break up at any point with either video or sound?
Yeah.
I wonder. How is it? How has it been going for you guys? This connection.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to say anything.
Yeah, you need to wait a little bit. Maybe it's like it's loading, or we froze a little bit. Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
we're gonna try to be more like up to date and
maybe
more regular with our videos. And yeah, doing great. Thank you.
Cool,
So
cool.
thank you. Yeah.
So, but here's another idea too, is now that we're going to become more active a bit, I'd like you guys to feel free to propose topics that we can talk about
for the future.
For later. We
Yeah.
can make instead of doing like a total odd ad hoc lives, we would like to actually do lives on certain subjects so that it can gather people that are interested in that particular thing.
Yeah.
Of course, that doesn't prevent you from asking questions off the subject, and oftentimes we're happy to entertain those as well. But we'll try to stay on focus.
At the moment, we are quite busy. There are only 4 of us on a boat, so we got only 1 month to prepare our boat and
ourselves.
And this is the last month we are in the Caribbean, so I'm getting a little bit sad because the plan is that after the refit in Poland, we want to stay in Europe, in Mediterranean. So we want to explore more. So the plan A is that we're gonna stay and then cross back to the Caribbean in December 2022. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
So it's gonna be 1 year and a half away from the Caribbean. So we are really like a little bit sad.
I honestly, that's completely like, who knows?
Yeah. But yeah.
So many things can happen in the meantime that we could fall in love with some other place in the world that will just hijack our hearts, and that's it.
Maciej Lewandowski is asking if we ever think about taking a break and try something new, maybe a van life.
Wait. We are taking a break. This is a break. We're on vacation for the last 6 years. No, seriously.
No, we did.
Yeah, we are on vacation.
Fought,
in a sense.
We don't want to.
To a point, we are on vacation for the last 6 years. We absolutely love it because we're finally. I know this is a cliche, but we are living the dream, which means we're no longer chasing it. We're in the dream. What we dreamt about is our life right now. That's reality, and it's awesome because you're no longer looking somewhere else into the future to see where you want to be. We are where we want to be, and that's absolutely priceless.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that like we are in a dream mode, that we are always happy and everything is like amazing, because we are at the end of the day we're a normal family, maybe not so normal, but we are a family.
No.
And we
That's
got
BS.
plenty,
we're not normal.
Everybody has own personalities, and it's like we are all the time here on the boat, so sometimes it's like it's easier, sometimes it's not. But yes, so this is the perfect home we could ever imagine, and yeah, so we don't want to change. And somebody is asking if we that means no selling for that long. No, definitely not. After the refit, we're gonna the plan is that we wanna arrive to Poland in the beginning of June, and then June, July, and August. A boat is gonna be in a shipyard in Poland, so then we're gonna keep an eye on the boat and just do this refit, the list, and then in the beginning of September, maximum, we would like to just leave Poland and go
around Europe and go to the Med,
and then spend fall, winter in Greece, Turkey. So it depends on the weather. Then we would like to stay longer for next year and then sail. So we're gonna sail across Greece, Italy, France, and Spain. So this is our dream.
I'm gonna answer 3 questions really quickly. Thomas, we have no plans to go to Australia for the moment, but eventually we do want to go around the world. For the moment, the French Polynesia is closed to other boats, so we don't even have that option. We would love to, but there's no point even going for Panama Canal because there's nowhere to go from there. And as far as I know, Australia is not very happy to have sailboats come in from other places either at the moment. Hopefully, by the time we're ready to get out of the Mediterranean, that's going to change. But we'll keep that in mind for sure. For sure, we would like to make a spin around the world, but it has to be more on our terms than on someone else's terms. That's the whole idea. I'm gonna butcher this name, so please excuse me. Eurius Herel You are writing that you're from Les Etang's school.
That's the school
If
in,
we can, is
in
it school here in St.
Saint
Martin?
No, it's in Lucia probably.
Oh, is it in St. Lucia?
Yeah, this is that the school? Oh, it would be like really bad that we don't remember the name.
Yes, I am sorry if I yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
in any case,
probably.
yes, I
Yeah,
went to that school
almost,
with. I went to that school what, about 2 years ago, and
yeah,
gave
last year,
sort of a speech as a pilot back then.
Yeah,
That was fun.
is that you?
So if
mean?
you could,
Yeah?
yes, okay. So
Yes?
we're just writing yes.
Nice.
To have you here.
How's the thing in St. Lucia? Just we really miss St. Lucia.
We really miss St.
Yeah.
Lucia. We would
So,
love to go back there for even
since
few
June
days.
since
Since June we haven't seen
visited.
Zaka and anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there's a question. Hi guys, use satellite.
Do we use
internet?
satellite internet? Yes, we do. The little box that I was showing you before is Iridium Go. It's extremely slow, but it's reasonably reliable. We can get forecasts, small emails, even with small pictures every day. So we stay in touch that way. And you'll see when we're going to be crossing. Also, that little box sends our position. So you're going to be able to see our daily positions as we're crossing.
And how we deal with COVID, European COVID entry regulations?
Well, we try to avoid places that put too much strain on our patients. So for the moment, we've been basically cruising between French islands that have either no restrictions between each other or at most just a test. But that's about it.
Yeah, but actually, this is really, I don't know, crazy, sad or whatever, because the reality looks a little bit different than
what the official word is.
Yeah. So especially when you are a European citizen and you fly, for example, from France or Holland here to St. Martin or to even to Martinique.
It's a non-issue.
Yeah, exactly. So people, we
actually on the way
keep,
back, if you go through via Amsterdam on the way back to Poland, there is not even a test.
We keep getting so many questions about: is it possible to fly to the Caribbean because everything is forbidden? You're not allowed to go anywhere because it's lockdown here, lockdown over there. But here. Now we are anchored in Tinta Mare, and there are sometimes 18 boats, charter boats, that people are flying back and forth. So yeah, it's happening. And yes, here it's maybe not as normal as it used to be before, but it's not so bad. We cannot complain.
I really cannot complain, and I really cannot see much of a difference between the life BC. Before COVID and after COVID.
Yeah, but this is how it is now. So we don't have much choice actually. So we choose destination, and so that's why we decided to stay in St. Martin to avoid all this paper and testing things. And when we go back to Poland, everything can change, and we see. Yeah. Okie dokie.
Yeah. I think.
So we're gonna
let you guys go to sleep because some of you we've noticed are not necessarily in our time zone. Some of you are actually still on the other side of the Atlantic, so you definitely need to go to bed.
So thank you for being patient, and keep fingers crossed, and we're gonna maybe be more regular now that we know the internet works. So next time we're gonna maybe we're
happy to discover that it's actually working.
Things during the daylight, so you're gonna see more
around
us.
Maybe we'll finally do our webinar about the courage to break loose.
Oh, we got somebody from Greece. Yeah, we'd love to rest with you guys in Greece, in Poros.
Absolutely. So guys, one last thing. Those of you who are interested in joining us for the Transat, please send us a message via email or via Messenger. It doesn't matter. And we'll go from there. Let's see. Peter Mayer please send us a message. We would love to visit Poros for sure.
Oh,
We absolutely love Greece. That's where we got engaged actually in
Greece.
the Cyclades.
Yes.
Love you guys. Thank
What's
you.
our email? Yeah.
What's our
so
email?
info@sailoceans.com.
Yeah, anything
Contact
at sailmotions.com will do.
sailoceans.com. So
All right.
yeah, Annapolis. Ooh, there's so many places that you are from now. Oh, amazing. In Jamaica, and even our Chopin was there. Oh, really nice. Wow. Yes,
Cool.
thank you. Thank you.
You guys.
Good night. Thank you. Bye.
Nice seeing you.
Bye.
And see you soon.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, and remember,
What?
I got the last announcement, because you can always sign up for our newsletter at sailoceans.com, and from time to time we can send you some information, because I don't know why YouTube sometimes doesn't show all the notification, so we can just order the newsletter. We are not regular, we don't send very often, maybe twice a month.
Don't worry, we're very lazy,
yeah,
so there's no chance we're gonna spam your email.
So if you go to sailoceans.com, you can sign up, so it would be nice to have you here. Yeah. Bye. Good
See
night.
you guys. Bye.